Hey guys, my name is James Walsh, and you are listening to the Wrestling Epicenter here on YouTube. I want to thank you for finding us. Please do me a favor and click that subscribe button and the notifications bell. And if you get the chance on this video, click the like button. If you do, it'll turn blue. Check it out. Also, check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for all this great content available in MP3 format, our online store that'll keep us going free and clear, daily news updates, as well as all the information from the history of professional wrestling you could possibly ever want. Check out WrestlingEpicenter.com online right now. Without any delay, let's get to your interview here on the Wrestling Epicenter.
And we're back on the Weekend Warriors of Wrestling. I'm Chad Perry, and James Walsh is joining me, and we are interviewing Zach Gowen. How are you doing tonight, Zach?
Oh, yo, what's up? Doing very good, thank you.
It's excellent to have you on the program again.
Well, thanks for having me back.
Excellent.
Okay, let's start from way back. What are your memories of your first match with Truth Martini?
First match I ever had, actually, was March 16th, 2002. It was in front of about 30 people. 20 of them were friends and family, you know. It was in like an old warehouse in Detroit. And yeah, that was my first match, and it was better than it had any right to be, you know. And I was very happy with it, and that's what started the whole Zach Gowen wrestling type thing.
Go ahead, Chad.
In August of 2002, now this is somewhat of a question. You won the tag titles in indie promotion with a wrestler named Kamikaze.
Right.
I believe that this is Ken, who we know today is Ken Kennedy. Is it not?
No, it's not. It seems like every like major city has one Kamikaze. It's pretty popular, a pretty generic name. So no, this particular one was a guy out of Detroit. Good guy. You know, we had some good matches as a tag team, but yeah, it wasn't Ken Anderson. No.
Okay, I thought maybe it was the North. You guys are somewhat close to the same area. I thought maybe.
Right. Yeah, there's so many like Kamikazes everywhere. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it wasn't him though.
Is that the modern day Doink the Clown?
Pretty much. Yeah, you know, put a mask on a skinny kid, and, you know, he does flips as Kamikaze. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how it goes sometimes.
Oh man, that's kind of silly.
Sure.
Well, I guess my question will be, I think I interviewed you probably back right after your release from the WWF. I think I might ask you this question already, but I'll ask you again. What do you think the difference is in the backstage atmosphere towards yourself is comparing TNA, which you've been back to since then, and the WWE?
Well, they're both awesome companies, and I was privileged to work for both of them. And TNA, it's a little more laid back as far as the atmosphere goes, and plus, like, a lot of my good friends work down there, so I already had that going for me. Like, there's a lot of guys there from around Detroit and Canada, which is obviously across the river. So, you know, like in TNA, it's a lot more relaxed, laid back atmosphere. It's a little more stricter in New York. You know, as far as dress code goes, and you know, really enforced. Like, you have to be there like at a certain time. If you're not, you get punished. You know, which may not be the case so much down in Orlando. But yeah, you know, they're both great. But yeah, Orlando's a little more relaxed.
When you first came into WWE, you were working with two guys that I imagine you grew up watching in Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper. How excited were you to be working with those two?
Oh man, I was marking out the whole time. You know what I mean? Like the first time we did the first show, it was in Baltimore, and you know, the first thing I do is like I'm just waiting backstage, and one of the producers comes up and they're like, Hawk wants you in his dressing room. I'm like, okay. You know, so I walk into this, you know, huge dressing room, and, you know, Hawk Hogan's coming out of the shower, and Roddy Piper's sitting right there, and Vince is right there. Like, I meet them all at one time, you know what I mean? Like, it was so overwhelming, and it was such a, you know, awesome opportunity. But, yeah, man, I was marking out the whole time.
Do you think the WWE writers believe the story that Mike Tenay put out there?
No, actually, I came up with that story. That was the story I came up with. It was before we did my TNA debut. Tenay asked me if there was any cool stories I wanted to share, anything, you know, interesting trivia or tidbits about me, and then on the spot I made it up, and people think Janae made it up, and no, it was me the whole time. But yeah, I think that's what initially was the driving force behind that storyline with Hogan and Stephanie and whatnot. But yeah, that was me. I came up with that story. It's a good story too. I wish I would have stuck to it. You know what I mean? Like, people believed it and stuff. It got me more over or something. You know?
Yeah. Especially with how exposed the business is today. I mean, I still believed it up until I heard you, I think, in an interview say that you had made it up. I thought that it was a true thing. So.
Right. I probably should have stuck to it. You know?
Why didn't you?
I don't know. Well, then people ask me, and I tell the truth, so I kind of felt bad. You know what I mean?
Oh. Okay. In the first few months of working on SmackDown, you stepped into the ring with the Big Show. That had to have been a little bit intimidating, considering the size difference.
Right. Yeah. Well, he's the largest person I've ever met in my life. You know, he's certainly a large man. One of the nicest guys too. So I wasn't that nervous. But being in the ring with someone that size and someone of that strength, I've never experienced that before. So going in the ring with him was nerve-wracking, but I was excited about it because I love working bigger guys. You know, I love bumping around, just selling and bumping and just getting another guy over it. You know, that's what I do. You know what I mean? So to wrestle a bigger guy, especially a guy, you know, with the talents of Big Show was certainly an honor and a pleasure.
Now, when you go in there and you're in there with somebody like himself, or for example, Brock Lesnar, who's just so massive, I mean, is there anything that goes through your head like, my God, this guy could kill me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's always that, but you know, you always think too, the guy's professional, and you know, he's there for a reason. He knows what he's doing. So I'm not so worried much about getting hurt. I'm worried about, you know, putting on a good match and entertaining the crowd, and, you know, getting the other guy over. That's what my main concerns are.
Good. In August of '03, at SmackDown taping in Detroit, your mother was in the audience, and Brock Lesnar gave you a heck of a beatdown. Had you warned her ahead of time about this?
Yeah. Well, she got there early, and it's like her personality, and they thought she'd be good for an angle, you know. And she pulled it off like beautifully. She did great. But yeah, she knew about the beatdown. She didn't know about the blood though. And I don't know if you can see it, but like I'm bleeding there, and she hops the rail. She comes, checks on me. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing, bleeding all over the place?" You know, like she says that. I'm like, "Wow, I'm just sell." You know what I mean? Like it kind of freaked out a little bit, but you know, besides the blood, yeah, she knew what was going on, and she did awesome.
What did your family think of you when you told them, "I want to be a wrestler"?
They really didn't like it, you know. I had, you know, an academic scholarship to go to Eastern Michigan. You know what I mean? I was in all the honorable classes in high school. And, you know, I decided to go into the business where, you know, we cross ice and we oil up and roll around each other. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't know. But, yeah, I say once things started moving, they got a little more supportive. And they're more supportive now since they know what's going on, you know?
Is there ever a time that you sit back and you kind of think to yourself, why am I still doing this?
No, absolutely not. I took like almost like a year and a half off actually. I took completely off. Like I worked here and there, but I wasn't that serious about it. You know, but like the past like 5 months, I want to say, I've been working full time, and you know, if I could work every day, but I can't stop basically.
Storyline. Did it change the original plans of the storyline at all?
Yeah, well, what happened, I think it was supposed to, me and Vince, we weren't work right away. I think we were supposed to work towards the, fighter. And then, we were supposed to book up to, Hogan and Vince, I think at SummerSlam. And I was going to get involved in that match. And then it was going to lead to me and Vince SummerSlam. What happened was Piper got fired. Hogan left, which pushed me and Vince up to the July pay-per-view, I think it was.
What are your memories of that match?
I remember. It was weird because I mean, Vince isn't a wrestler. You know what I mean? He's a great personality, and I love him, but he's not a wrestler. So like they had me fly out to Stanford, like a week ahead of time, and like go over the match like move for move, and we just kept like going over the match and like writing it down and just like choreograph the whole thing, and I'm not used to doing that, so that was kind of weird to me. And like the day before the pay-per-view, like they rented out like a little like music hall. They set up a ring, and me and Vince went over it again. Like we just kept, it was so choreographed and went over and over. Like I knew the whole thing, so I wasn't even that nervous. But still being that such a high-profile match with like the boss of the company, you know what I mean? Like it was pretty nerve-wracking. But as far as the match went, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the finish was kind of lame. It had me like burn up the top rope, and I thought that was pretty anticlimactic. But other than that, I can't complain at all. It was awesome working. I mean, how many guys worked with Vince? You know what I mean? So it was certainly an honor. But yeah, I thought things could have been a little better.
Now, I heard rumors, and you can confirm or deny this if you want. You can just let it be, that the match at Vengeance was really supposed to be Hogan as Mr. America versus Vince, and Hogan didn't want to do the job.
Actually, that's the first time I've heard it. I know the original plan was for Hogan and Vince to work at SummerSlam, I think it was, or it might have been Vengeance. That was the original plan. But then Piper and Hogan left. So yeah, I've never heard that before, actually.
Interesting. Getting back to the match, what did you think when you saw Vince's blade job?
It wasn't a blade job. When he set up the chair for the drop kick, he set it up the wrong way. So the edge of the seat was on top of his head, and I kicked it as hard as I could, So he caught him. It was on top of his head. Blood was everywhere, Well, it certainly wasn't a blade job.
Oh.
Now, what goes through your mind when you see that Vince got hurt in a match with you?
I didn't even think about it because I know Vince, like, no matter, like, Vince, he's such a professional. Like, I knew, like, a little cut wasn't going to stop the match or, like, impede the match at all. Like, actually, when I saw it, I kind of popped for it because, obviously, I think it added, more intensity, more, more hatred into the match. So I thought it was kind of cool, actually.
In October of 2003, you worked your last match. I'm not sure if you were released soon after that, or did you sit at home, or what happened?
Right, I worked at Cheery at a SmackDown taping. And after the match, Akio, Jimmy Yang, and Dakota, who were Kachuri's henchmen, I think, about that time. They hit the ring. I think that was their debut, actually. They hit the ring. They were all, like, pumped up, you know what I mean, like, ready to go. They gave me a double SPO, which knocked me out, and I got a pretty severe concussion from it. And, so they sent me home. I was living in Louisville, Kentucky at the time. They sent me back to Detroit, and I sat there for a couple months. I was ready to go, but I got the call in January that they're going to release me. So yeah, from October to January, February, I was sitting at home.
What was the reason given to you for your release?
They wanted me to get more experience because like I was only like 30 matches in when I got signed, which is quite ridiculous. You know what I mean? So yeah, they wanted me to get more experience, get bigger. Give more practice on the microphone. You know what I mean? Just basically mature as a person too. And so the door was open, to come back once I qualified.
Now, when you read the internet, and I know that a lot of people really dread reading the internet because they're just so brutal. Shortly after your release, people were just brutal on you. I mean, everybody was calling you the N-word, the novelty act. How do you react when you hear that?
Well, I think every wrestler's a novelty act. You know what I mean? Everyone's got like a gimmick. Everyone. If you don't, then you're gonna better be like you're the best wrestler, like Bryan Danielson. As far as novelty act, that's how it's portrayed on TV. That's certainly not the case, and I'm certainly a very talented, very capable professional wrestler. But at the time, I wasn't very good at all. You know what I mean? I was 30 matches in. So, you know, how good can you be? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, over time, I've been, you know, working for like 5 years now. I've been better with time. And now I think I'm going to show some people wrong, basically, you know?
In March 2004, at an IWA MS show, you worked heel against Steve Stone. Was this the first time you had worked as a heel?
No, I worked for, that was for Ian Rotten for IWA Mid-South. I worked, when I came back, actually, my first match back on the Indies, I worked heel for his promotion. I think it was supposed to be, the match was supposed to be Alex Shelley versus Jimmy Jacobs versus Chris Sabin, but Shelley got hurt. So as his replacement, I came out for him, and he was a heel. So he was top heel in the company. I came out as his replacement. I came out as a heel. That was the first time I worked heel. But I think, yeah, Steve Stone was the second time I worked heel. I worked heel in my life, actually. Yeah.
What do you prefer now?
I like being babyface. Right now, I'm a heel for promotion in Chicago, and we're doing this like invasion type gimmick. Well, it's really hard. I'm a manager. It's like, you know, I cut matches. That's fine. You know, I'm over as a heel, but once like around the ring, like no one can't like lose that. You know what I mean? Hard. It's really hard like to work as a wrestler and go over as opposed to being like a mouthpiece. So it's a lot easier to talk and you know, be hated than actually get in the ring and wrestle, you know.
Do you think that's going to be a problem down the line, that you might have trouble the obvious physical, whatever you want to go, however you want to term it?
Sure. No. I think for right now, me being a babyface is fine. And then when the situation calls for it and for me to be heel, I can do that too. I just think I'm more effective as a baby.
Today, do you still follow WWE? And if you do, what are your feelings on the current product?
The last thing I watched was the ECW show they had last week,
Which was an abortion.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was certainly different. You know, like it wasn't. You know, it wasn't. I didn't feel like I was performing again. You know. I watched the pay-per-view. I thought the pay-per-view was really good. Especially Sabu and Ray. I thought they went balls out and tore the house down. But yeah, you know, I watched the product. I'm liking it. Nothing too offensive on it. You know what I mean? Like the match is always solid. The gimmicks are over. I like what they're doing with Cena right now. How he's got so much to define as a babyface or a heel. Like they like the crowd, and he's over either way. So you know, yeah, they have good stuff going on.
What about TNA?
TNA, I try to catch TNA. Sometimes they're hard to. I think they're on like Thursdays at 10, I think. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Sometimes I'm not home. I read the results. But yeah, they have good things going on. I have a lot of friends down there. You know, so I always like to check up on them. But yeah, they have good things going on.
Go ahead. All right. I actually interviewed you on the day of No Way Out 2004, and you were looking forward to watching it because you wanted to see Eddie get the belt. Now, obviously, you probably had some brushing up with Eddie. Do you mind giving us a little thought on the passing of Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah, it was. I was certainly heartbroken. He's you know, in this business of carnies and jerks and backstabbers and you know, assholes. Like, he was like probably the most genuine, nice guy I ever met in my life. You know, like he would go off his way for anybody. He was just like overly nice. You know what I mean? Like it was, and it wasn't like fake at all. You know what I mean? Like you could tell it was just genuine, and he was just happy to be alive and happy to be doing what he was doing and supporting his family and you know and doing that. And it was so sad to see such a, you know, such a good guy like passed away like that. You know what I mean? So it was certainly heartbreaking.
In May of '05, you returned to TNA for their Hard Justice pay-per-view, and you also wrestled on the opener of the Slammiversary pay-per-view next month. But then you seemed to disappear. What happened?
Well, this is during the time that I wasn't really working full-time. And they called me up, I think like on a Wednesday. You know, like, are you busy on Sunday? And I said no. And so I came down to the pay-per-view. It was supposed to be a one-time thing, but because I was supposed to like fly back the next day, even though they had tapings for like their Impact, I think it's called Impact. The next day after that. But yeah, I came out and like, you know, I was really over, you know, which even I was surprised by because I haven't been on TV in like 2.5 years at that point. You know what I mean? So I came out and it was over. You know, people behind the scenes liked it. They invited me to stay an extra day to work their Impact tapings. I forgot how I worked in their Impact tapings. I don't know. But yeah, so I worked that. I worked Kid Romeo, I think. Yeah, it's Kid Romeo. I worked Kid Romeo. Again, I was over. They brought me back for their June pay-per-view. That was good. It was a 6-way. I think it was me, Shark Boy, Il Skipper, Darrell Clark, Amazing Red, Delirious, yeah. So 6 people. That match was really good. And then I worked their Impact tapings again. I worked Mikey Batts. You know, well, I'm sorry. To make a long story longer, like it was all good. Then I went to Japan for 2 months. So I flew to Japan, and when I came back from Japan, they had like this Spike TV deal and all their contracts, like everything's already set in stone. You know what I mean? So like when I was gone, I missed the opportunity to sign with them. You know, when that TV deal went down. So, but yeah, you know, that's basically how that happened.
Which company did you work for in Japan?
I worked for Big Japan Wrestling. Actually, I worked for Big Japan. I worked for Saka Pro, and I worked for one other company I can't remember the name of. So yeah, I was there for like 2 months, and you know, it was a good time. I just wish I didn't miss that TNA opportunity, you know.
How did you enjoy working over in Japan?
I liked the work. The work was fine. It was a lot of fun, a lot of talented guys over there. It was hard being away from home, and it was hard because I was on the road every day for, you know, 2 months, sitting on a bus, or, you know, if we're lucky, we got a hotel. You know what I mean? So, and the culture is kind of weird too. You know what I mean? So it was just like, you know, a culture shock basically.
How about the food?
The food? Well, the food's fine because I wasn't eating too great back then, like too healthy, but they had like McDonald's, like the fast food over there is so much better than it is over here.
Really?
So yeah, it was hot and fresh and tasted so much better. Yeah, so like I had McDonald's every day, and if I didn't, like spaghetti's huge over in Japan, so like I'd eat a lot of spaghetti. But yeah, I ate a lot of you know, native Japanese foods, and I enjoyed them for the most part. But you know, I stuck with McDonald's and spaghetti most of the time.
That's shocking. A lot of people that we talked to, Bret Hart, for example, said something along the lines of he lost 30 pounds his first tour of Japan because the food was just so horrible. But maybe they didn't have a McDonald's back then. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. In the past 20 years, like Japan's exploded culturally as far as it's been so westernized. You know what I mean? So yeah, every major city has every major like U.S. restaurant. So I just find, in fact, I think I gained about 30 pounds.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, James?
Sure. You have a question written down here. I guess I'll ask. Is there anybody still left in the business that you really would like to work with?
I want to work with Samoa Joe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be freaking cool.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking. So I got asked this question like a week ago, and I was trying to think of names and like, you know, because I worked with a lot of people, you know. But one guy I've never worked with was Samoa Joe, and I think me and him, if we got together, we could do some cool stuff.
That seems to be the common answer nowadays. Last week we talked to Kevin Nash, and that's the same response he gave us. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Joe's super talented. He's super over, and I like what he does. And I think, you know, my ideas and his ideas, I think if we get together, it'll be something special.
I actually want to go back to your WWE run. What were your thoughts of your feud with Matt Hardy?
I learned a lot from it. Since Matt, he's so talented and he's a really good guy. Like, we did the house show circuit together for like months, and it was every day working him, I learned something new. He taught me so much as far as like the heel babyface dynamic and what to do, when to do it. You know what I mean? Like he taught me how to work basically. So I have nothing but good things to say about Matt.
Why do you think they don't use him more now?
I'm not sure. What is he doing nowadays?
Pretty much velocity matches.
Really? Because I haven't seen him on TV in quite a long time. Now that you mention it, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. He's really good. He looks good. He's over with the crowd. He can talk. He's got charisma. I don't understand why he's not making more money.
A year ago, that feud with Edge. I mean, in theory, that stuff could have written itself, and both of them could have been main eventers right after that. But
right. Well, that's why the whole point of that was to elevate both Adam and Matt.
Right.
And now I think the most over heel is Lita. So so yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, James?
Sure. Do you want to do the word associations?
Yeah.
All right. Basically, we'll just give you one word. We'll give you one word. You can give us a one-word answer back. If you want to share a story, that's cool too.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, I'll start out. Jimmy Jacobs.
Jacobs, fantastic. One of my no, I already said more than one word.
That's cool.
He's like my favorite guy to watch, and he's my favorite guy to work. I think you guys did an interview with him recently.
Yeah, just a couple weeks back. I think he was staring at you at one point in that interview.
Yeah, I think I was next to him while we were driving to Iowa. So, yeah, he's like my favorite guy to work. I think he's awesome, so underrated. I guess he fucking did some retarded bump like on Saturday. Like I think he got power bombed over the top and into the crowd or something. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's got a few screws loose, but he's my favorite. He's awesome.
Yeah, him and BJ Whitmer are on the top rope, and BJ powerbombed him right into the crowd. So
what happened was he slipped and he went the wrong way.
Well, no, he did that. That was the original bump. It was kind of a mess up, but yeah, I guess they did that on purpose, like last Saturday, where they jumped into the crowd for I don't know.
Oh my God.
Finish.
Why would you want to do that again?
I don't know what way. The first time once it gets messed up, you know what I mean? Like, why would you want to try it again? But I don't know, man. I guess it got over huge, so more power to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, James, you on?
Sure. How about Brock Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar is so talented. The Big Show once told me that Brock was as far as pure strength goes, he's the strongest wrestler he's ever wrestled. And Big Show wrestled them all, So yeah, Brock Lesnar, way talented and a lot of fun to work with.
All right.
What about
Go ahead.
The man you made your wrestling debut with? And I saw that you worked him a little bit after you left WWE. Truth Martini.
Truth Martini is one of the most underrated guys out here in Michigan and in the United States. It's a shame that he wrestles every weekend with a broken neck. He still hasn't gotten his neck fixed. But as far as he's probably the smartest guy as far as like a mind for wrestling out there.
How come we haven't seen him in TNA in the X Division?
Well, we were supposed to. Actually, the story is my dark match for TNA was in January 2003, I think. It was me and Truth, Truth Martini, and we dark match. It went over huge. They decided to fly us both back the next week. They had the same match, except this time it'll be on the pay-per-view. So what happened was, at the last minute, they scratched his name off and they switched me to me and Road Dogg. So me and Road Dogg had the match instead of me and Truth Martini. But yeah, like that was like both of our breaking out like moments. You know what I mean? But they scratched them off and replaced them with Road Dogg.
Do you know why they scratched him off?
The reason they gave me was because they wanted me going over, and they said they'd rather have me go over on someone who's established than someone who's an unknown, which, that makes sense. It just sucks for truth, you know what I mean? That, that was a moment. You got scratched off at the last second.
Yeah. What about Alex Shelley?
Alex Shelley's awesome. I've known him since, I started training in 2001. I've seen him grow as a wrestler, you know what I mean? So it's good to see that he's being very successful right now.
Have you had a chance to see the things he's been doing with Nash and TNA?
Yeah, I've seen some of their promos. They've been really good. They have really good chemistry together. Very, very, very entertaining.
Okay, James, you have one?
Sure. I guess we kind of covered him early, but how about Vince?
Yeah, Vince is very, very intimidating. You know what I mean? Very successful. Very, pretty intimidating guy. He owns, WWE, the biggest wrestling corporation, in the world, and he's the owner for a reason, and he'll let you know that. So. It's just a very awesome man.
Okay, and Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan was very, very, very nice to me. When he didn't have to be. You know what I mean? He took time out and talked with me and helped me a lot. So Hogan is very, very cool.
Now, was Hogan your favorite growing up, or was it somebody else?
Yeah, well, Hogan, as a kid, you know what I mean, as a 5, 6-year-old watching wrestling, Hogan was awesome to me. I just started getting older and, watching more and more wrestling. I started, liking, the smaller guys because I could, look up to them as far as wrestling goes, as a role model for me because I was so small, too. I like the smaller guys like Ricky Morton and Shawn Michaels. The Rey Mysterio, the Lucha guys, those guys I looked up to, mostly, when I was a teenager.
Well, I have to ask you this question. Hulk Hogan, I interviewed him back last August to promote SummerSlam, and he made a line to me, and I wanted to ask you as a young guy in the business. Hogan used a line to me, the young guys in the business, they learn the moves, but they don't learn wrestling.
Right.
As a guy who works on the indie scene a lot, who seems to grasp the idea of the intricacies of wrestling, what do you think when you hear a statement like that?
I think it's 100% true. I think it's the truest thing I've heard, in a long time. You can watch, just turn on TNA and watch the next division, watch these guys do, an 18-minute match in 4 minutes. You know what I mean? And it's not really getting that over with the crowd. Because they don't have time to. When you hit so many moves so fast, it doesn't get over with the crowd because it's not registering with them. You know what I mean? Because it's just too fast, too much. Personally, I like to have a 4-minute match in 18 minutes. You know what I mean? I like to work the crowd, get them into it. Get over that way instead of going out and doing spot. When I started out. I was doing that. I was doing exhibition style. I was doing shooting stars to the floor, getting right back up, and big top rope DDTs, and you know what I mean? I was doing some, retarded stuff. But then I finished the match with the moonsault, and it wouldn't get over. And I was talking to Sabu about it, and Sabu, he's the guy who pioneered that kind of style. He's like, listen, it's not getting over because you're hitting all this, amazing stuff, and then your last move of the match is moonsault. He's like, why don't you build it up, and then when you hit the moonsault at the end, the place will go nuts. You know what I mean? Don't go out there and do retarded stuff. All right, next time I tried it, and then it was over huge. I was more over by doing less than I was by doing more, and that's when I first started learning how to work. So yeah, man, you gotta slow it down. You gotta work. You have to know what crowd you're working in front of, and you have to know how to do that. A lot goes into a match. You know what I mean? A lot goes into it. So, but yeah, that's basically how that works.
You mentioned Sabu. Is there anybody else that helped you learn the psychology of the business?
Right. Well, Sabu was really instrumental. Truth Martini was probably the most instrumental guy in helping me out. But pretty much Truth Martini was the guy who toned me down a little bit and, taught me how to work.
Okay, what does the future hold for Zach Gowen?
Hopefully good things. I'm working full time right now, which I haven't done like a year and a half. So I'm taking all these bookings. I'm in the gym. I look better than ever. I wrestle better than ever. In the fall, I'm taking steps towards becoming a motivational speaker. So that's probably where my bread will be buttered. When I get too old to wrestle, or my body gives out, one of the two. So yeah, I'm going to go into motivational speaking, and in the meantime, I'm going to be wrestling full time as much as I can.
Awesome.
So is there any way that fans can keep up with you nowadays of where you'll be?
Yeah, I have a MySpace. That seems to be all the rage these days. I'm on MySpace, myspace.com /Zach Gowen, ZachGowen. I have a calendar on there, and yeah, you can contact me, email me, and I answer all the emails, so feel free to contact me, and let me know what's up.
Awesome, man, awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely, a pleasure.
All right, anytime you ever need to promote anything, give us a call, and we'll do the best we can for you.
All right, cool, sounds good.
All right, and is that all we have for him?
Before I let you go, could you do a station identification for us? Just basically say, Zach Gowen, you're listening to the Weekend Warriors of Wrestling.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Do you want us to count you down?
Sure.
Okay, go in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, this is Zach Gowen, and you're listening to the Weekend Warriors of Wrestling, the best internet wrestling show out there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, sounds good.
Take care of yourself, and we'll